Hello, it's nice to be with you again if you are back, and welcome if you are here for the first time visiting. My name is Anri-Louise. I'm an occupational therapist, and at the moment we are covering all things sensory and regulation on this channel. And being holidays, I thought today we'll chat about touch hyperreactivity because the holiday season is just so filled with touch. The touch system is quite marvelous. In a very simplified way, there are three types of touch receptors or little nerve endings in our skin that tells us what touch we're experiencing. And the first group is our deep touch receptors. So they feel when we get hugged or squeezed or when pressure is applied. And by nature, the deep touch receptors are calming. The light touch receptors are activating. So when someone is stroking your hair or giving you a kiss, they are the receptors that fire. Then there's this quite magical receptor, the affective touch receptors. So even though a mother might stroke a child's back with light touch, it's interpreted differently as calming and comforting and safe, where someone just lightly touching your skin could be activating and interpreting as quite threatening. So the brain is wired for protection, and where our light touch receptors would say, oh, be aware, our affective touch receptors send the message that all is well and safe. We are not going to go into pain receptors for this video. Now, touch builds up in the system because it stays in the body for approximately 2 hours. So if I arrive at a family function and grandpa rubs my head, and then auntie pinches my cheeks, and then someone else gives me a kiss, and then someone touches my back, each touch input stays in the system for approximately 2 hours. Now there's so much light touch that's part of the holidays. It activates and activates and activates. It fills up the system until the system says enough. And at that moment of enough, that is where we get our strong emotional reactions. So we could have a meltdown, we could have crying, we could have fighting, or we could get avoiding and isolation, where a child just removes themselves from the gathering because they have had enough. So what we want to do is look at the tactile load of our holidays and our family dynamics and our outings, and we want to see if we can decrease the amount of light touch and unexpected touch. What we want to do is we want to keep in the back of our minds that touch builds up and it doesn't just leave the system immediately after the event. So a child can still be irritated in the car on the way home after the event and fight with a sibling because their system has just had enough now. We want to be conscious about that we don't treat all behaviors as naughty behaviors. We can ask ourselves the question, is my child sensitive? And has my child had enough? And instead of then forcing them to participate or telling them to stop it, we might just give them a moment of deep touch. We might just give them a moment of playing by themselves and just allow their system to decompress from all this touch that has been coming in. So when we think of the three types of touch, if we can, we want to give deep touch regularly throughout the day because it's calming and it balances out all the light touch that's happening around us. So if your child does like hugs and squeezes, or they do like a massage, give them a hug when they pass by you. Press down on their shoulders, hold their hand tightly so that we can just give them more of that deep touch. Children can also give themselves deep touch. So if they are traveling with a pillow in the car, and they can hug the pillow or hug a squish toy. If they can squeeze their hands or squeeze a stress ball. Then we also want to increase on the effective touch when the moment is right if our children do enjoy it. Some children calm more on it than others. Sitting next to your child and making a figure of 8 between their shoulder blades, stroking their hair, just giving them that light effective touch that makes them feel safe and grounded in the middle of all this other tactile bombarding. For light touch, we do want to try and limit it, which is sometimes hard over the holidays. Part of limiting light touch does include educating our family. So we might need to send a WhatsApp to the family group and say, Johnny is a bit touch hypersensitive. He reacts quickly. He gets overloaded. Please, can you greet him with a hello or a high five or a fist bump, and not force hugs and kisses onto Johnny, because it will overload his system. For our older kids, it's really nice if we can teach them how to advocate for themselves. If they are able to say to granny or grandpa, auntie, I don't like it when you touch me like that. It hurts my skin, or it tickles me, or it's uncomfortable. And if they are able to not only say, stop it, I don't like it, don't do it. If they are able to quantify it by explaining how it makes them feel, often relatives are just much more accepting to their sensory boundaries. Now, preparation can be a game changer when we are talking the holidays and our tactile system. And the first preparation activity would be considering touch and sleeping. Often going to a new place, we don't know what the blankets and the sheeting will be like, and there is nothing like scratchy blankets to ruin a holiday. So if you do have a child with a very sensitive system, consider packing their favorite sheets or their favorite blankets so that they can sleep better and everyone is better rested for the holidays. Also think about what pajamas you pack, that you pack the most loved ones, because the holidays are going to be touch heavy. So having the comfortable clothes and the comfortable pajamas in the suitcase really makes life easier than taking the pretty things that's not worn and not as soft, not as comfortable. On clothes, consider having a spare set of clothes when you travel, because there's nothing such as an unexpected mess, ice cream spilling, and your child wants to go home because now their clothes feel sticky and messy and yucky. On wiping and rinsing, have water ready, have wipes in your bag, I'm sure you do, but just a reminder to pack them so that when hands get sticky and feet feel dirty, that you've got something to clean them with. Some children really like tight clothes, underclothes. So if you are going to wear the pretty dress to church, having something tight underneath is often calming, and wearing it inside out, that the seam is on the outside, is even more calming. So that is a great strategy to consider. Having a stress ball that your child likes, that squeezing is very calming through the hands, and it is a counter to all the light touch that will be happening around. If you're Southern Hemisphere and it is sunscreen time, consider putting the sunscreen on at home before you leave, because the skin absorbs it and then it's less likely for sand and all sorts of dirt to stick to the skin. Sunscreen on the beach just gets sticky and it's irritating. Also, look into the types of sunscreens. For many kids, the spray-on sunscreens are just less sticky and much more tolerable than the cream sunscreens. Although, for some other kids, the massage of the cream makes that more tolerable than the tickle of the spray. If possible, do a quick and dirty. If you can get it on and done as quick as possible, it's over. So trying to stretch it out, keeps the input going longer. So a quick and dirty on and done decreases the amount of time to get sunscreen onto the skin, which just helps with the overall load in the system. Although that won't work for every kid, so you will play around with your child. And then the last little thing is have a shirt with pockets, because pockets allow your child to keep their hands out of reach. When they don't want to shake a hand and grab a hand and hold a hand, they've got somewhere to put their hands. But also putting your hands in the pocket and pulling down on the shirt is lovely additional deep pressure, and that again helps to calm. And you can fill up pockets of something heavy. That stress ball in the pocket just adds a bit of extra weight that becomes calming in itself. If you've got other ideas, tricks that you use to help your child cope with tactile load on the holidays, please pop them in the comments so that other people can also benefit from them. And I hope you have a wonderful day.